The 2-week buffer rule. Why consistent creators always keep a content stockpile. The secret to never missing a post isn't discipline. It's a stockpile sitting ready before you need it. Just be more consistent is the most repeated and least useful advice in the creator economy. It treats missed posts like a willpower problem, as if the creators who show up every day simply want it more than the ones who go quiet for a week. That's backwards. The creators who never seem to miss a beat aren't more disciplined than you. They're running a different system. They keep a buffer, a stockpile of finished, ready-to-publish content sitting a full 2 weeks ahead of the calendar, so that a sick day, a slow week, or a sudden brand deal never touches their publishing schedule. Consistency isn't a personality trait. It's inventory management, and inventory management is learnable. Why just post more advice fails almost everyone. Most consistency advice assumes the bottleneck is motivation. It isn't. It's timing. When you create content the same day, or the same hour, you plan to publish it, you've built a system with zero slack. One bad night of sleep, one client emergency, one kid homesick from school, and the chain breaks. The problem was never that you lacked discipline. It's that your production schedule and your publishing schedule are the same schedule. A buffer simply separates the two. You make content in batches when you have energy and ideas, and you publish from the stockpile on a fixed rhythm regardless of how any particular day goes. This is exactly how retailers avoid running out of stock. They don't restock the shelf the moment the last item sells. They reorder well before that point based on a par level. Your content deserves the same logic, especially since every post is also a quiet advertisement for whatever you're selling through your store. Fan link. The reframe. Stop asking, "Did I create today?" and start asking, "How many days of stock do I have on hand?" One is a mood. The other is a number you can manage. The 2-week target, and why that specific number. 2 weeks isn't arbitrary. It's long enough to absorb the disruptions that actually happen to real people. A cold, a family trip, a launch week where every hour goes to customer support instead of filming, and short enough that the content still feels timely when it publishes. A 1-day buffer barely counts. It evaporates the first time something goes wrong. A 2-month buffer sounds great until you realize planning that far out means your content stops reacting to what's actually happening in your niche this month. 14 days is the sweet spot creators who've been at this for years converge on independently. Enough runway to protect the schedule. Not so much that your publishing stale takes. How to build the buffer without a 40-hour content sprint. You don't build a 2-week stockpile in one heroic weekend, though you can, if you want a fast start. The sustainable way is to run at a slight surplus every single week until the buffer fills itself. If you publish 5 times a week, produce 6. If you publish daily, produce 1 extra piece every 4 or 5 days. That single extra unit per cycle is invisible in terms of effort, but compounds into a full buffer within a month or two. The mistake most people make is trying to batch 2 weeks of content the week they realize they need a buffer. That's the same all-or-nothing thinking that caused the gaps in the first place. Small, boring surplus, sustained over time, wins. Count your current buffer honestly. How many finished, ready-to-publish pieces do you have sitting untouched right now? 0 is common. That's your starting line. Pick a surplus rate. 1 extra piece per week is enough for most publishing cadences. Batch by type, not by date. Film all your talking head clips in one sitting. Write all your captions in another. Switching formats mid-batch is what kills momentum. Schedule immediately after creating. Don't just save it as a draft. A scheduled post is inventory. A saved draft is still a to-do item. Review your buffer number every Sunday. If it's shrinking 2 weeks in a row, that's your early warning to slow down and refill before it hits 0. What actually goes in the buffer? A buffer isn't just social posts. It should include everything that keeps your business running while you're away from the keyboard. That means finished captions and scheduled posts, but also a couple of evergreen lead magnets sitting ready to capture new followers, a delivery flow that doesn't need you to click anything, and product pages that are already selling on their own. This is where the buffer mindset pays off financially, not just socially. If someone finds your content on the one day you didn't personally show up, does your fan storefront still convert them into a customer? If you sell an ebook, a template pack, or a mini course, the delivery is already automatic. A buyer gets their secure download link the instant they pay, no manual follow-up required. That's a buffer too. It's operational slack that means your income doesn't depend on you being online at the exact moment someone's ready to buy. Count your scheduled, ready-to-publish posts for the next 14 days. Confirm at least one lead magnet is live and automatically delivered to new subscribers. Check that your product delivery is instant and doesn't require you to manually send anything. Set a recurring weekly calendar block for batch creation, not whenever I feel inspired. Write down your current buffer number somewhere you'll actually look at it again. The business case. Why the buffer protects revenue, not just your streak. It's tempting to treat a content buffer as a vanity project, something that keeps your grid looking tidy. But the real reason it matters is revenue. Every piece of content is a shot on goal for someone landing on your storefront and buying something. A gap in your posting schedule is a quiet gap in new traffic to your store, fan link, which means a quiet gap in discovery, which eventually shows up as a quiet gap in sales. Creators who treat their content pipeline the way a retailer treats shelf stock, always reordering before the shelf goes empty, end up with steadier income because they never have a week where the top of their funnel just stops. If you're still deciding whether it's worth setting up a real storefront behind that content, a live example store shows what a fully stocked setup looks like. Products, a lead magnet, and a clean checkout all working while the creator is off doing something else entirely. Consistency isn't about never missing a day. It's about building enough slack that missing a day never shows up on the outside. Common ways the buffer collapses and how to catch it early. The buffer rarely disappears all at once. It leaks. The most common leak is borrowing from tomorrow. You skip creating this week because the buffer covers it. Then skip again next week for the same reason. And 3 weeks later, you're back to zero with no memory of when the surplus habit stopped. The fix is the Sunday check from earlier, a 5-minute ritual where you literally count what's left. The second leak is treating every piece as precious and over-polishing it, which slows batch production to a crawl. A buffer is built from good enough, finished, and scheduled content, not from perfect content that never ships. If you're unsure how this fits with pricing, delivery, or store setup, the FAQ covers common questions, and the blog has more guides on turning consistent content into consistent sales. Quick gut check. If you had to disappear for 10 days starting right now, no laptop, no phone, would your audience notice a gap? And would your storefront keep making sales? If the honest answer is no, that's your buffer target. Put the system behind the content. A buffer of content only pays off if there's somewhere for that traffic to land and convert. That's the other half of this system. A storefront that keeps working exactly as reliably as your scheduled posts do. On store.fan, you get one link for your bio that holds your digital products, courses, coaching calls, and lead magnets with delivery that's fully automatic. Buyers get their download or access link the second they pay. No manual step from you. Pair a 2-week content buffer with a storefront that never sleeps, and you've effectively removed yourself as the single point of failure in your own business. Check the pricing page to see how the plans compare, including the free option to start. Key takeaways. Treat content like stock, not like a diary entry. The goal is a standing buffer, not same-day inspiration. 2 weeks of finished. Scheduled content is the target that absorbs almost every real-life disruption without a public gap. Refill in batches on a fixed weekly rhythm instead of producing one piece per published date. A buffer protects your income, not just your streak. Every day you're visible is a day someone can find your RF's store.fan link and buy. Track your buffer as a number, days of stock on hand, not a feeling, so you always know exactly where you stand. Start your creator store, free, at store.fan.